Hi guys, how are you all? Hope you're well, hope you've had a good start to the week and you're enjoying some sun. It feels like this week is a little bit of a Brucey bonus with some nice sunshine, which is always good. Getting some vitamin D. Thanks for joining me this week on our new Tuesday slot. Tuesdays seem to be a winner so far, so we might stick with this for a wee while and see how it goes. For those of you who joined me last week, you already know about my iron saga. It's not a saga, but you already know about my struggle to get enough iron into my diet and absorb it. I've recently been diagnosed as anemic. So I spoke a little bit about that last week. So this week's session is basically a bit of a practical follow-up, if you like. So following on from chatting about my... penny's not quite on straight. Following on from chatting about my struggle to get enough iron into my diet, well, I suppose last week I spoke a little bit about how I guess I'm not really sure whether it is I'm struggling to get enough iron into my diet or if I'm struggling to absorb enough iron, because I think that's the key thing with iron, is that it's not necessarily just about getting enough into your diet, but it's about absorbing it. And there's a few different things that can help with that, which I talked about last week, which is firstly absorbing and eating your iron with vitamin C to make sure that you're absorbing it. And secondly, not eating your iron with caffeine, because caffeine inhibits the absorption of iron. So they're kind of my two key things that are front of mind right now whenever I'm consuming iron-rich foods, is to make sure that there's a vitamin C source with it and that I'm not consuming caffeine directly after it. So they're kind of my checkpoints. But like I say, what I wanted to do today is do a bit of a practical session in terms of how to bring that to life. So what I'm going to do first up is run through some plant-based ingredients that are good sources of iron and almost bring that to life for you, because I think it's very easy to sort of look on the internet and be like, okay, so find out which are good plant-based sources of iron. So for example, you've got spinach, chickpeas, tofu, these are good sources of iron, pumpkin seeds, but you tend to find the iron when it's written on paper, 100 grams equals this amount of iron. And actually that can be quite misleading in terms of how much you can actually consume of that ingredient. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to show you some plant-based sources of iron and show you what that looks like, and then what that looks like in terms of your recommended daily allowance, to kind of bring that to life a little bit, because I sort of struggle to visualize that a little bit. So for me, it really helps seeing it all on the table. So we're going to do that. And then I'm going to whistle through a breakfast, lunch and dinner that are well balanced in terms of it's got a good source of iron and it's also got a good source of vitamin C. So it'll give you a bit of a sense for, here's just some kind of like 3 breakfast, lunch and dinner ideas that you can then tailor and modify and use at your peril to make sure you're getting enough iron into your diet. And I'll scatter in some top tips and stuff along the way as well. But please, as always, chat to me in the comments and ask me any questions you've got, or anything that you've been struggling with, or any learnings you've made in the past few weeks, if you've been on a similar journey to me and trying to up the ante when it comes to your iron consumption. I'd love to hear about anything that you've found have been wins for you or challenges for you. I'm always really eager to hear what's going on with you guys too. So, without further ado, let's talk about iron. Cool. So let's go down to the table, and rather than running through the ingredients that we're going to work with today, I'm going to run through the ingredients that contain a good source of iron, and we'll visualize it. So first up, if we look at, you can see all this here, if you run around this side of the table to begin with, everything on this, all of these bowls, it's got 100 grams of whichever ingredient. And here we've got pumpkin seeds, which contains, so it's 100 grams of pumpkin seeds, which contains 10 milligrams of iron, which is half of your recommended daily allowance. So your recommended daily allowance of iron is 20 milligrams. So you think that's all right. But actually, that's quite a lot of pumpkin seeds to gnaw through in a day. You'd struggle, you'd probably maybe get through about, that's 100 grams, you'd probably maybe get through about 20 grams, but I doubt you'd get through an awful lot more. So really, in a day, you're only going to eat about sort of 2 milligrams of iron through your pumpkin seed intake, roughly, very roughly speaking. Here you've got some cashew nuts. Cashew nuts are also a good source of iron. Again, 100 grams here, which is 6.5 milligrams of iron. So again, that's a decent amount of cashew nuts. Probably not going to get through all of them in one sitting or one day, but you might get through half of them. The other thing to note about nuts is obviously they're quite high in fat. It's all good fat, unsaturated fat, but if you're trying to watch your calorie intake, then you may not want to consume all that much cashew nuts anyway. But I imagine you could probably get through about half of them in a day between whatever you're eating for breakfast, lunch, dinner, you know, great in smoothies or sauces, or we're going to make a cashew and spinach stew tonight. So there's lots of ways that you can sort of get a portion of nuts into a meal or snack. So that's a really good one. Chia seeds is also a really good one. 100 grams of chia seeds there's 6.3 milligrams of iron, but you're never going to get through 100 grams of chia seeds in a day. Not least because you'll have to remortgage your house because they're so expensive. But really, you're going to get through a couple tablespoons of chia seeds, which is like, yeah, you're talking kind of 10 grams as opposed to 100 grams. So really, in terms of your chia seeds, whilst it is a good source of iron, it's a rich source of iron, you're really only going to probably get about 1 milligram of iron into your diet through eating chia seeds during the day because the amount you're going to consume. So on this side, you've kind of got your high iron, like they're rich sources of iron, but actually you don't really consume that much quantity of them. Whereas over here, we've got our lentils, chickpeas, cannellini beans, which are much heavier, if you like. So with our lentils here, this is just green lentils. These are all cooked weights, by the way. Our green lentils, they're cooked and drained, and in 100 grams of them, we've got 3.5 milligrams of iron. So here you can see it's a portion, you know, it's a light portion, if anything. So you could easily make sure that you get at least one portion of lentils, 100-gram portion of lentils into your diet, whether that be in a salad, stew, you know, bolognese, whatever that might be. Same with chickpeas. So we've got 100 grams here, cooked weight, but that is basically a portion of hummus. So say you have a portion of hummus and some chickpeas in a salad or stew, then you've got 2 portions there. So in 100 grams of chickpeas, you've got 1.5 milligrams of iron, but you could easily shoehorn 2 of them into your daily meals. So, you know, that could be 3 milligrams of iron you're getting from chickpeas. Same with cannellini beans. Cannellini beans, I think they're the exact same. Yeah, 1.5 milligrams of iron in a 100-gram portion. So exactly the same as chickpeas. It's an easy portion to get into your diet, whether that be lunch or dinner, or as a snack, as like a dip or something. Tofu. This is silken tofu, but firm tofu is the same. And that is also 1.5 milligrams of iron per 100 grams. But again, that's a really easy thing to get into your diet. And actually what we're going to do today, sorry, you can't see that. What we're going to do today is use that in a smoothie so you can actually kickstart your day with a portion of iron, with 1.5 milligrams of iron in your smoothie. So that's fab. Spinach, which you think is kind of like your plant-based hurrah source of iron, don't you? But this is 100 grams of spinach. So you can probably get through that in a day. Like it's not a huge amount, but you would need to have like a salad as well as put some in a smoothie or a side dish. So it is quite a lot. And that's only 2 milligrams of iron. So it's not actually as, you know, spinach isn't as great as you almost think it is. So the really key things for me to make sure you're getting into your make sure you're trying to get that into most meals is your pulses and beans, really, and tofu, pulses and beans. Kind of like your rich protein sources are also your rich iron sources. So for a number of reasons, you want to be making sure you're getting lentils, chickpeas, tofu, all into your diet, and with a sprinkling of nuts and seeds and dark leafy greens. And to be honest, if you can do that, then you're onto a winner. So, any questions so far? Hit me up. As I said, I didn't say explicitly, but 20 milligrams is your recommended daily allowance. That's kind of what you're aiming for to get into your diet per day. On the table right now, we've got 30 milligrams of iron. So you're basically, if you go back down to the table quickly, we're looking to get a third of this into our day, which doesn't feel difficult. But bear in mind that these 3 you're going to struggle to eat that quantity of those, and they're the ones that are the sort of highest potency, if you like, of iron. So bearing in mind you're not going to manage to eat all of this, you're going to have to add a few extra portions of chickpeas or lentils or spinach or whatever that may be into your diet. So if you can visualize it like that, we're kind of trying to get about half of this table into our mouths. So let's do it. So what I'm going to do today is not our usual sort of cook along, not my usual, I was going to say glacial pace, but I don't know if I'm ever really that slow. But I'm going to do breakfast, lunch and dinner today. So I'm going to whiz through it. I've prepped some stuff in advance, so I'm not here for hours showing you how to make 3 meals. I've prepped some stuff in advance. I'm going to whistle through 3 meals that are really good in terms of making sure they've got that source of iron as well as source of vitamin C. So let's do it. I think the key learning for me actually with doing this and kind of visualizing exactly how much iron is in everything is that, again, it just comes back to meal planning being super important, because you can't really afford to miss a meal, if you know what I mean. You certainly can't afford to miss a meal of iron, if you know what I mean, because when you think about calculating this all up, you do kind of need to make sure you've got 3 meals that have decent amounts of iron in it to make sure you're getting that 20 milligrams. And where I struggle, be interested to hear how you guys, kind of where you fall down, or if you do, in terms of what meals you struggle to get your iron into, because I've got better with my breakfast. I've started putting my seeds and nuts in it so I get more iron there. My dinner is pretty good because I do actually sort of plan that to an extent and actually cook it from scratch, whereas lunch tends to be where I fall down, because if I haven't prepped it, then it's too often like bread and hummus or something. Do you know what I mean? It's the kind of grab and go stuff that you don't actually think, okay, where's the nutrients in this? And that tends to be where I kind of let myself down. So interested to hear where you guys think you could do better. Right. So first things first, we'll start with the cashew and spinach stew. We've done this one before, actually. So any avid viewers might have seen us do this one before, but I thought it was really good for the iron episode because it is a really good one in terms of balancing iron and vitamin C. So if we come over to the cooker, I've already popped this all in a pot. And what we've got in here basically is 100 grams of spinach. So again, we've already got in here 2 milligrams of iron. Then we've got 500 milliliters of passata, which is our vitamin C source. So again, already we've got iron and vitamin C in the pot here. We've then got 100 grams of cashew butter. So we've got another 6.5 milligrams of iron in there. And then we've got some salt and curry powder. So I'm going to put that onto a low heat and just bring that all together. And then that will come into a lovely, the spinach will release some liquid and we'll get a lovely creamy sort of curry spinachy base sauce there that we're going to add some cannellini beans to, which will be some more iron. So already you can see this one's super packed with iron, which is brilliant. So as we let that do its thing, I will show you how to make a nice iron-rich lunch. So spinach is going to be the base of this one, which is a great one. Mel, yeah, lunch for you too. So prepping salads, for me, this is the answer. And for me, this is the only way that I really, unless I've got leftover dinner that I portion and eat the next day, which is a winner in winter. But I have to be honest, in summer when the sun's shining like this, I don't really fancy a portion of stew or chili or something for lunch. So salads, prepping them in advance, that for me is the winner. So that's what we're going to do here. Base of a good salad, some spinach leaves. So you'll see this comes to life here. This is 100 grams of spinach I've got in my bowl here. And I've only really managed to get about 50 grams of that, I suppose. There's still quite a lot in that bowl left over. So I've got about 50 grams of spinach in the base of my salad plate here. And that's quite a lot. So think about it like that. You know, spinach is good, but it's difficult to eat the quantity that will give you a huge amount of iron. So we've got about 50 grams of spinach there. And then onto that, I'm going to put some sweet potato that I've roasted earlier, which are a good source of vitamin C. So already we've got some iron and vitamin C building up here. Fantastic. However much or little you fancy. And then I've also got some roasted broccoli, which is another good source of vitamin C. That's going to balance that beautifully. And then onto that, we're going to put some chickpeas. Now you can roast these chickpeas, which to be honest is probably what I would normally do, but I'm just trying to do this quite down and dirty and quick for you guys tonight. But you could sprinkle these with some paprika, salt, pepper, olive oil, and lemon juice. Roast them in the oven for about 10-15 minutes and they'll become lovely and crispy and just full of flavour. So we're going to add those on the top of the salad here. And that's, you see, that's 100 grams of chickpeas. No bother. You know, that doesn't feel like it's too much for the salad or anything. That's a perfect quantity. And that doesn't have to be chickpeas. That could be lentils. It could be any sort of thing there that has your iron source. So any pulse or bean would be perfect there. And then we're going to get some fresh veggies on that here as well, which will be another winner for vitamin C. So we're going to get some red pepper on there, just to give it a bit of colour. Can't beat that. Yum, yum, yum. Some cherry tomatoes, again. Some more vitamin C on there. And then to top off with some extra iron, what I'm going to do is get some hummus, which this kind of blob of hummus there is probably about another 100 grams actually of chickpeas. I should have weighed it, but it's probably about 100 grams. And so there you go. You've doubled your amount of iron through your chickpeas there. So if your chickpeas, we've got 100 grams in there, it's 1.5 milligrams. You've got another 1.5 there. That's 3 milligrams of iron. So in your salad here, we've got somewhere between 3 and 5 milligrams between our spinach and our two portions of our 200 grams basically of chickpeas. So into the hummus, you could just blob some hummus on the top here, but what I'm doing is making a hummus dressing. So hummus, lemon juice, and some sesame oil. Just mixing that together. Oh, I've got some seeds in there. Not so good. Just going to mix that together. Take my seeds out. Thank you. Give that a wee whisk. And so something that is as simple as a salad dressing, you know, you're suddenly using that as ways to get iron into your salad, which is pretty cool. Just give that a good whisk up there. And then what we're also going to do is add some seeds and nuts as a topping. And like I've been doing on my porridges, just adding some seeds and nuts to finish off your salad just helps you just to up that iron level in it and gives it an awesome, nice tasting crunch. So that's our hummus dressing. Let me taste. Delicious. I love adding sesame oil to that, and just that kick of lemon makes it just delicious. So we're going to drizzle that over the top. You can make that thinner and more of a dressing, or thicker and more of a hummus. It's completely up to you. But don't be shy, because that is full of taste and full of nutrients. And then I'm going to get some cashews to top it off with. But you see, we're not, you know, we're getting about probably 10 grams of cashews there. It's really not an awful lot, so you're not going to get a huge amount of iron, but it is rich in iron, so it's a good one to make sure you're adding. And then pumpkin seeds, which is our most densely packed iron source, to top it off. And it also makes it look pretty pretty. So there we go. There we have our, how quick and easy was that? So if you have prepped your broccoli and your sweet potato one evening, so whilst you're cooking dinner one evening, just prep some roast broccoli and roast sweet potato, or any roast veg. It doesn't have to be them, just something that is got some vitamin C in it. Then, you know, or anything really, you know, as long as you've got something in there with vitamin C, then you've suddenly got this really iron-rich, vitamin C, super tasty. Make sure you're not forgetting those toppings of the seeds and nuts and the hummus dressing, because they're the things that actually build up to make this something that's kind of got, you know, 6-7 grams of iron versus 3-4. Do you know what I mean? If it's just the spinach bottom and you think, okay, yeah, I'm getting some iron in there, then actually it's really not that much iron. But as soon as you start loading on those chickpeas, the hummus, the pumpkin seeds, the cashew nuts, then it just builds up. All those little things build up to a meal that's actually like, you know, you're getting a good third of your recommended daily allowance there. So absolute winner. Oh, I forgot my chilies. I love a little kick of chili on the top there as well, which is a great, green chilies are actually really high in vitamin C. So that's a good one to just finish off your vitamin C there. Mel, you need to add more seeds and nuts to your salad. Do you know, I'm the same. I never used to do it, but I've got like, just packed loads of seeds and nuts into my kitchen actually. And now, whether it's breakfast, lunch or dinner, everything just has a sprinkle of seeds in the bottom. And not only is it like, yep, I'm checking off my iron, but there's so many other benefits of seeds and nuts, like the stuff that is quite easy to miss out of your diet. But also, I just love that crunch that you get with as well. So it's ticking all the boxes. Right, so that's lunch. Let's come back over to our cashew and spinach stew because that is bubbling away nicely here. So you can see my spinach is starting to wilt and making a nice sort of sauce-like consistency. The cashew butter is starting to make that sort of look a bit creamy. It's just breaking down a little bit there, so you can still see it's a bit, there we go, stirring that through beautifully. And now you've got this lovely creamy tomato-based sauce with some richness of the spinach in there as well. So into that, we're going to put our cannellini beans. So we've got 100 grams of cannellini beans in there, but actually it can definitely fill more than that. So let's put the rest of the can in, and that's 250 grams of cannellini beans. So a can of most beans is about 250 grams drained weight. So, stir that in there. And then, yeah, we've just got, how much iron is in this pan? Probably about 15 milligrams. If you've got 100 grams of iron, which if you've got 100 grams of spinach, which is 2 milligrams, what else have we got? We've got 100 grams of cashews, which is another 6.5. Who's doing my maths here? We've got 250 milligrams of grams of cannellini beans, which is another 4 milligrams of iron. And I think that's about it. So yeah, we've got 7. Yeah, we've got about 15. Sorry, I'm not very good at fast mental arithmetics on camera there. Someone correct me, but I think we're about 15 milligrams in that pot. Which is fab. And fair enough, this is going to probably feed 2 to 3 people. But if you serve that with a side of spinach, you know, more spinach, or you could do some green beans, which I meant to put on here. Get some water on the hob, and we'll put on a side of green beans, which will give us another little boost of iron. Then you've got a beautiful, really iron-rich meal there. So just give this a taste and season accordingly. Might need a little bit more curry powder in there. That is such an easy dinner in terms of, you saw how easy it was. Chop up some spinach, jar of passata, can of cannellini beans, some cashew butter, curry paste, salt, done. Stir it all together, done. Who's that? Gordon Ramsay? Jamie Oliver, I can't remember. Channel my inner Norm. So easy. And then if you make, you know, double up, you've got 2 or 3 portions in there. Then in the winter months, the colder months, where you're not necessarily wanting to go for salad, you've got another iron-rich lunch that you can just pop in some Tupperware and eat the next day. So another winner. I'm just going to add another tablespoon of curry, another teaspoon of curry into that, curry powder into that, just to give it a little bit more of a kick. But otherwise, it's tasting beautiful. And also, don't be shy. When you serve that up, then whack some pumpkin seeds on the top, or some roasted cashews on top as well. And then you're just increasing that wee bit more. All right. Wow, this is fast-paced. We're on to breakfast already. Are we keeping up? You do it, are you talking about seeds, Mel? You do it for breakfast, but forget lunch. Totally. Because it makes sense on breakfast, doesn't it? But on it doesn't come naturally, I think, for lunch or dinner, just to sprinkle some seeds on the top. But just make it a habit. Make it a habit, and then it just happens. Claire, looks delicious. Thank you very much. The salad, I presume you're talking about, or the cashew and spinach, or both. Right, so let's set the savoury to one side, and let's talk breakfast. So I have to be honest, for breakfast, I used to struggle. I've got really good at it in the past couple of weeks since I found out that I was anemic, and I've really been trying to improve my iron consumption for breakfast. But I used to be very much a porridge and banana kind of gal, which isn't inherently bad. You can get some iron into that through the porridge oats and if you use soya milk. But to be honest, I make my porridge with water and there's not an awful lot going into it. So I've upped the ante by adding protein powder to it that's got iron in it as well, and sprinkling it with seasoned nuts like I just said. So I'm doing all those things to my porridge. But actually, smoothies can be a real winner in terms of making sure you get that balance of iron and vitamin C. So I'm going to make a wee green smoothie just now, which is delicious. Do not worry. It's like, I know green smoothies can sometimes be a bit icky and put you off because of the colour, but this one's so full of flavour and it's sweet. It's not like, you know, one that you've got to hold your nose and down, I promise you. Right, so what we're going to put in is another handful of spinach. So say, let's put about another 50 grams in here. So you've got your good quantity of spinach into your day. So basically we've got 200 grams of spinach that we've just used up. We're also going to add some kiwi in there. So I've got 2 kiwis, and kiwi's really rich in vitamin C. And I think I tend to forget that. Like I never really think of kiwi as being a really good vitamin C source because it's green. I don't know why. I always think of vitamin C. I think of vegetables and I think of citrus fruits, but actually kiwis and strawberries, in terms of your fruits, kiwis and strawberries are really good sources of vitamin C. So remember that. What else am I going to put in here? I'm going to put some silken tofu. So this is our 100 grams of silken tofu, which is, what did we say is in that? 1.5 milligrams of iron. So it's also a good source of protein. So ticking lots of boxes there. Got kiwi, spinach, banana, obviously. Every smoothie needs a banana just to make it taste great. You've got all the good stuff in the banana, potassium and all the likes. It's not ticking off really our iron or vitamin C box, but it's good for a number of other reasons and it's just great in a smoothie. If you don't like banana in a smoothie, other things that do a similar job of making it really creamy are avocado, or I'm just going to turn that cashew and spinach stew off because it's bubbling away in the background. Other ways to make your smoothie creamy are avocado or frozen cauliflower or silken tofu. So they're all really good ways to make a smoothie nice and creamy as well if you're not a banana lover, but I'm a banana lover for sure. Banana, kiwi, spinach, tofu. So we've kind of got our vitamin C and iron in there already. I'm also going to add a tablespoon of protein powder because added protein, added iron, so why the devil not? If you're not a protein powder fan, then you don't need to add this, but it is quite a good way to just ramp it up, basically. And last but not least, soya milk. So again, we're just getting that little bit extra iron in there, as well as protein in there. 100 milligrams of soya milk contains about 1 milligram of iron, and it's probably about 200 milligrams that I just put in there. So again, you've got another dose of iron here, if you like. So say you've got 2 from your soya milk, 1 from your spinach, 1.5 from your silken tofu, and say another 1 from your protein powder, maybe a bit more. You've got another sort of 4 to 5 milligrams of iron in your breakfast. So we're winning, we're getting there. Like that. It will start to look better soon, I promise. Stop that and give it a bit of a mix, and then you just blend until those little bits of spinach go away, because that's what makes it look not very appetizing. But let's give it a wee taste test, because you can always add to it to make it taste. Good. Nice level of sweetness. You get the sweetness from the banana and the kiwis, and then the tofu and the soy milk together give it a lovely creaminess as well. So that's spot on. Just going to blend a little bit longer. There we go. I'm just going to pour this into a wee glass. If you have a jug blender, that will actually blend much better. My blender isn't the best for blending down those little chunks of spinach. But yeah, if you've got a jug blender, that will become much smoother. And you see, that's... You just got a wee bit more left there, so you've got a big glass of smoothie, which is a brilliant start to the day. Let's give it a try. Cheers. Really good. Really lovely balance, actually. It's nice and creamy. Choking on my spinach chunks there. Creamy, sweet, delicious, and yeah, beautifully balanced of iron and vitamin C. So, there we have it. What have we got left? I'm just going to serve up our dinner. I don't have anything to drain my green beans into, so I'm just going to do this a little bit rookily. There we go. Right, have I got room for this on the table? Here we go. Let's see. I've got room there. Everything perfectly side by side. So you could serve this, I'd probably serve it normally with a side of rice, just to make this fill out a little bit. But you don't have to, you know, it's you could do it with rice, you could do it with bread, you could do it with quinoa, or you could just do it on its own with a side of steamed veg. So that's probably about half of what we just made there. So you've got a good 7 or 8 grams of protein of iron in there, and then we're just going to serve that with some green beans. That will give you another maybe milligram of iron, if that. Green beans probably don't have that much in it. But there we have it. This is probably, what did we say, about 5 to 6. We've got about at least 5 grams of iron in each dish here. So given our recommended daily allowance of iron is 15, all we really need to do now is have a little snack of, say, edamame beans or cashew and raisins, or yeah, some, you know, you can easily sort of add that up to 20 with some snacks, and we're probably a bit over 5 in a couple of these. But it is interesting because when you see that there, you're quickly going to struggle to achieve that 20 milligrams a day if you take out one of these meals. So it does just kind of highlight to me the importance of planning your meals and making sure you are adding all those extra layers that you know are rich in iron just throughout the day, just to build it up and notch it up with every single meal. And for me, I think that's kind of what I've been lacking in the past few kind of months, is not just notching up for all those meals and thinking about making sure you're getting those extra little nutrients on every kind of meal and snack as you go. So I hope that's been useful, guys. Caroline, yeah, I noticed you've tagged a few people. If you share the link, then you'll be able to watch it back as well. So if you think they might be interested, then you can share the link to this video, or we're also on YouTube, and you can share that link with them, and it'll be live, so they can come back and check it out later. So hopefully that's useful. Has anyone got any questions or anything about any of that, or any sort of observations in terms of where they might have been struggling, or anything that they've been doing that they think it's a winner, you should try it out, Norma? I'd absolutely love to hear. Because yeah, we're all on our own wee journeys with it. And like I say, I think my problem is that I'm not necessarily absorbing it. But like I say, when I actually thought about how, when I visualized this, if you know what I mean, and actually put down on one plate, on one table, this is what 20 milligrams of iron looks like. I was like, actually, I'm now less convinced that my struggle is just absorbing it. Maybe I am also struggling to get enough iron into my diet, which I was convinced previously that I was getting plenty and it was just about absorbing it. So it's interesting to kind of check what you believe to be true with your own diet, because I think you can kind of assume things with yourself. You're like, oh yeah, I eat plenty of that stuff. But actually when it comes down to it, do you? And, you know, are you being careful to make sure that you're getting that in every meal? So yeah, just be careful with yourself and just sense check yourself. I think it's really important to make sure you are doing that. And yeah, just these little things that you can add in and make all the difference. My current one that I love doing, which I actually have run out of, and I would have shown you on my table of iron-rich ingredients, is edamame beans, because they're so simple. You can just flash boil them and then a wee drizzle of soy sauce on top, some chili flakes, and it's a super delicious snack that's high in protein and iron. So that's a really good one to throw in there as a snack to just kind of top yourself up if you've realized that you've not got an awful lot of iron into your breakfast or lunch or whatever meal it might be that you're struggling with. So yeah, that's us for today. Thanks, guys. I thought I was going to rabble on for hours today because I was trying to make 3 meals, but actually I think we've got through it quite quickly. So thanks very much for watching. I haven't done it yet, but I will upload the methods for all of these recipes and the ingredients into the descriptor for this video so that you've got them and you can see, or I'll put links to the other videos that do the full recipe download so you can see all that and you can make them at your own peril if you like, so that you don't miss out on the actual how-to. Mel, I think cooking and seeing it is really good. Helps you reflect and think more about planning meals. Totally. And it kind of, for me, it really elevates the importance of planning meals, because unless you were to actually think this through, there's no way that I'd accidentally manage to, you know, achieve my 20 milligrams a day. So it's a really good thing just to sort of sense check yourself on. Right. Thanks very much, guys. It's been a pleasure as always. Next week, we're having a week off, actually, because we've got our flat's being turned into a work site. Whoops, Freudian slip. Our flat's being turned upside down next week, so I don't think you want us to come live from the kitchen because it's just going to be chaos. So we're going to have a week off, and then we're going to come back, and we've got an exciting one hopefully for the following week. So I'll keep you posted on the socials about that one, and hopefully see you then. All right, thanks very much for watching, guys, and take care. Bye bye.